Hey there, in today's video we are just doing a simple color mixing process. So take any three colors. I took a red, a yellow, and a blue, and then just mix them in as many different ways as you can to just experiment and explore and see what colors you can come up with, because the results can be quite satisfying actually, even if it's a color that you don't particularly care for, which in my case is the color red. But when I added the blue and the yellow, it made some lovely shades of brick red and coral, and you just do not know what you're going to come up with. Now, I will say this is a little bit non-traditional in that typically someone will tell you to, when you do color mixing, and to see all the different color variations that you can make from limited colors, they will also suggest that you use white and use a black or a gray or a brown just to get all the different color variations. In this example, I'm just suggesting that you take any three colors that you have on hand, just kind of explore and mess around and see what you come up with. And then take those paints. I mean, I was doing it on camera, so I was using up all the paint and just did swatches. But it's super fun if you have it in your palette, then to go, with these, because they go together so well after mixing them. Get into your art journal your art journal or cards or whatever you happen to be working on, and just start making marks or painting things in. Use up that paint in a fun way, because you've already spent the time of mixing. It is fun to swatch, and it is, I will say, there's something satisfying about just seeing what you can come up with these different colors. Now, did I know that I love yellow and blue together? Yes, because I love green. But is it fun to see all the different variations and what can also happen when I add a red in? Yeah, it is. It's really cool. And it's a great reminder to me that I wasn't just using like primary colors, but if you are, obviously that will be one thing. But each different shade of yellow, each different shade of blue, each different shade of red will give you a different result. Or let's say you use a purple and a gray and a green. It would still be fun. Whatever you have on hand, definitely give it a try. Super easy, super fun, and it's a way to sometimes just get started when you're having a hard time getting started. So use it as that as well. So without further ado, let's get started. The three paint colors that I chose were all Liquitex, yellow oxide, cadmium red medium, and cerulean blue. You could choose any three. Those were just kind of right on hand at hand. The one thing that I decided I would also do is make sure though that each one of them were opaque. So I feel like that would lend itself to some better mixing. So let's see what happens. I'm gonna start with the yellow oxide, I think. And by that I mean, I'm gonna put the yellow oxide out, and then let's just see what it looks like by itself. And I may need another page if this gets filled up, because I want to use quite a bit of paint. Okay, and I want it to be thick so you can see. Now, obviously it can become more transparent if I scrape at it. This is the thicker color, which goes on, and then less paint. But what I want to do is to mix. Here it is by itself. I want to mix it primarily. I want it to be primarily yellow, and then put a little bit of blue and a little bit of red, and then see what happens. And then we'll do the other colors in the same way. So I'm going to set a little bit of red here, and I guess I could have put 3 like dollops of. Actually, that's a lot of red. So I think I'm going to just take, because this red I think is pretty powerful. So I'm going to take just that much and mix that up and see what we come up with. This palette paper, it wants to come up. Okay, it looks like kind of a nice corally color. Now, of course, it's gonna make a difference. Should I put it down below? Should I put it up here? Maybe I'll put it up here. It's gonna make a difference which yellow you use, which blue you use, and which red you use. So I'm just, like I said, choosing colors that were opaque, but you could choose translucent, transparent, whatever colors. It makes a fun experiment. And honestly, the cool thing is to see what happens when you only have these 3 paints. Now, I am gonna grab because I'm realizing I don't like to waste paper, as you guys know. So I'm gonna use this, and off to the side, I'm going to clean, I'll put it over here. I'm gonna clean my palette knife off onto this paper so that I don't waste any paint, and I can use that for collage later.
And then I do have a rag on hand that I can wipe the last residue just to kind of, I want it to be a little bit more, I'm going to put a dollop of blue out. Authentic color is what I wanted to say. Like I want it to be truly, not have the other color in there making a difference in what I'm doing. Okay, so I'm just going to do, I'm doing a big portion of the yellow and just a little bit of the blue. And we'll see what happens. I think I'm going to like this green because it's a kind of an olivey green, which I'm a big fan of. And I think it's because we started with the yellow oxide. So let's see. Oh yeah, this is a fan favorite. So you can see it's fairly similar to this in many ways. The red completely changed it. So I'm going to suggest for one more purpose. Now listen, you could do this in a myriad of different ways. But I just kind of, I want to see, can I find some colors I like using yellow, blue, and red. Now what I want to do is I want to use the yellow again, but I want to use both the blue and and I want to use both the blue and the red. So I just want to see. So we have, we have the plain yellow, we have the yellow with red, we have the yellow with blue, and now we're going to try it with both. So I'm going to put a little bit of that blue and a little bit of red, and we'll see what we come up with. Now, often when we're color mixing, at least when I am, I come up with sometimes really, I do like the ugly colors, I call them ugly, but I like those colors, the very muted, neutrals, muddy. I do like that. So if you don't, then you would probably want to stick with colors that are less likely to produce mud. And obviously when you have colors on the other side of the color wheel from each other, then the tendency is they dull each other down, and that can be good or bad depending on what you're going for. Okay, so let's see what this color looks like. Oh, I love it. So it's just a very rich, deep color. Now they're all fairly similar in that they have the same, I'm using the same initial color, which is the yellow oxide, but they are definitely very, they're different, but they're all colors that I would use. And I will say a yellow oxide is already kind of more of a muted yellow. So maybe I cheated by using this yellow because I knew that whatever came of it was going to be, I was going to like. Okay, so I'm going to get a different palette just because I think it'll simplify it. And then actually, you know what, let's do, before I do that, I'm going to mix these two together. Let's not waste anything and just see what happens. Has a little bit, and then we can start fresh on another palette paper. Let's just see what that makes. Now that it was mostly just the blue and the blue and red, and it made a really pretty brick red color. Let's just keep going, okay? Let's take that and add it to this. I wasn't thinking I was gonna go crazy, but why not? I think it's fun to see what you can come up with because you just don't know. You don't know what you have. That didn't get mixed real well, but there we go. It's kind of got a streak of red in it. That's very similar. There's some similarities, but obviously we're straying further and further from the simple one. Let's go up here to this orange-ish color and see what we can do with that when we add this in. I'm gonna get a little bit of this, put it up here. Okay. Oh yeah, I think that actually makes that color a little richer and a little nicer. This is a little bit brighter. Now for a final, I know this is really daring. I'm going to mix all the rest of the paint together. Just why not? And see what happens. And then the next one, we're gonna move on to the blue. We'll do blue next and red. Red's my least favorite, so we'll do it last. That's what happens when something's your least favorite. Okay, this one looks kind of similar But again, a little richer again. Very nice, all mixed together. So super fun. Let me do, since I have space for one more, just gonna really use everything on my palette and see if we can get anything even slightly different. Of course, adding white or black or gray would have changed things, but I really didn't want to do that. I wanted just to keep it very, very simple and just keep it with the 3 colors. Let's see what we got here. It's about the same, I think. So, okay, let's move on to the blue and see what happens then. All right, so I just went ahead and put out my paint, the cerulean blue, cadmium red medium, and the yellow oxide. I'm gonna sample the blue just to kind of see what that looks like. It is a pretty blue for the most part. Let's see what it looks like when it's a little more transparent. Okay, so now we're going to try it with mostly blue and a dab of the red. Let's see what
actually,
happens. That's actually very nice. I like that. It's kind of made it a slightly darker blue, but with just a hint of the red, I thought maybe it would turn it more purpley. Okay, so now let's try a lot of the blue. I'm gonna squeeze a little bit more out here with the yellow. I guess I could have squeezed it over here, huh? Let's see. With a dab of yellow. I like that color. Wow, that's pretty. Well, I do love a good green. Okay, so now if I can remember what I did last time, which was I think all 3. So let's do that. I'm not gonna even clean my palette knife because I'm gonna add a dab of this. And obviously it matters how much a dab is, right? So like, the more you add, it changes, it can change the whole look of it. And I'm not doing this as an exact science. I'm just doing this to kind of show you the different colors that you can make just from having a blue, a green, or no, not a green, a blue, a red, and a yellow. Okay. So this one, oh wow, that is, I don't know if you can really see the difference on camera, but very pretty. It's like a gray. It's like a gray. It's very, I really, wow, like it. Okay, so I think last time, can't really remember what I did, but other than cleaning that off, I think I combined these 2. I did a bunch of different colors, but you'd think I just did it, so you'd think I could remember. Okay, I combined these 2 with, I think, this leftover. Let's try that. It doesn't really matter. We're just experimenting. We're just playing. There's really no right or wrong. So if you were doing this yourself, obviously you wouldn't have to remember, or you could write it down. So you did remember. Okay, so there was obviously way more red in here, but there is some yellow and there is some blue. So you're getting kind of a nice brick reddish color. I like that. Okay, let's clean off our palette knife. And then, let's see, I think I didn't put enough paint out. Last time, I think I must have had more paint. Okay, and it looks like I need a little bit more of this yellow. And I think I combined, and actually it doesn't matter, right? So I think I'm gonna combine some yellow, some red, and with this one, this color over here, and see what happens. And a little bit more of the blue, okay? It's more to show like, oh my gosh, just with these 3 colors, depending on how much you put in. And of course you could make recipes like, oh, 1 part this, 1 part that. I am not quite that detailed about it. And honestly, I probably wouldn't recreate in that way. Wow, love that color. And I'll have to pull the other palette out too, or the other one, and see how many similar colors I made. Okay, so I'm gonna take what's left on here. I'm gonna take some of this blue, and then I'm just gonna go right over onto this color that we mixed up earlier, and just see. And that would be similar to this. So let's, oh, but it's more blue. Wow, I really like that color. It's amazing. It's funny. I'm gonna leave this color on, and I'm gonna go over to this, I think was this one up here. And maybe I'll add a dab of yellow. I'll just kind of clean up some of this, and let's just see what happens. Oh yeah, nice. Like that. Okay, and I think the last thing I did was I combined them all. Whatever was left, you get mixed up in a big giant vat of colors. So let's see what happens when you just randomly mix them all. To me, there's no bad color. Even if I call them ugly colors or dingy colors or whatever, I love them. So there's that. Okay. Makes it kind of similar to this, but actually it's a deeper olive green. So amazing. This is all starting from this color. This is what you can make. So, all right, let's go into the red and we'll see what happens there. Now we're going to use the red as the primary color. So let's take a swatch of that. Probably didn't need that much. Wow, it is. I know we're not supposed to have favorites. Well, are we? I think we can. Red is probably my least, not probably, it is my least favorite color. And yet there are some very cool ways to make red kind of darker and richer and in ways that I do like it. So you can use, almost any color can be made or changed into to make a color that you actually like. So, but we do have our favorites. And if you love red, go red. I just find that it's not an easy one for me to love. So I'm going to mix it first with the yellow, I think. So let's take a dab of yellow. I may have to use more because the red is very pigmented and very, let me use just a little bit more. It's very pigmented, I guess is the word. And it's overpowering. It's kind of like black can be, but I can tell already just by adding that in, it's muted it a little bit and you'll see it's a little bit richer. Hopefully you can kind of see that. So, all right, let's grab another bit here and I'm going to add a little bit more of this because I feel like the yellow didn't really do it justice and it's easy, like I said, because since it's so pigmented. Oh yeah, that makes a lovely shade of brick red, which I am a fan of that. Perfect. Okay, so I'm going to actually do another one of right here. Actually, let me rinse this off or mark this off. I want to do one with more yellow in it. I'm going to add more yellow to this. So just, I feel like it'll give us more of a coral color. This didn't really, it needed more in order to show the difference. Yeah, here's a little bit different color. So yeah, wow, I love that. It's kind of a orange-ish, but it's a dark coral. It's very pretty. Okay, so I'm gonna keep what's on my palette knife. I'm gonna take some blue and some yellow. Let's see, and just mix that up and see what we got. And if it's too close to one of those other ones, then I will change it, but oh, it must have a lot of blue in it because it is turning green. So I may have to add some more. Let's add a little bit more red because it's for the red. It's not for the greens, even though I prefer the greens. Okay, here we go. All right, this is more of a, oh yeah, that's nice. That's really pretty. Okay, I like that. So now I got a lot of red here because it's so bold. Let's take all of this blue and a bunch of this red and the rest of the yellow and some of this. Let's just grab a bunch and see what happens up here. But maybe a little bit different. Yeah, they're all slightly different. Now, when you do this at home and you choose whatever colors, you'll be able to see the variation, even though on camera it may not be. Like this is just much more orange. This is a much deeper brick red. There is a difference between the two of these. So it's tricky to see. So now I feel like we need some more yellow in order to kind of do these last three, just to really kind of mix it up. Let's take this orange and the rest of this and see if we add it to this, what happens. Okay, yeah, that's pretty. All right, that's lovely. Okay, I think we need one dab of blue right here in the middle, and we'll mix those up. Let's add a little bit of each of these and see what happens. Nice. And again, slight variation, but different because it's actually redder than these other brick reds. Now for the final, we're going to add everything together, and because I have so much red left up here, it's probably going to be pretty red, and I have quite a pile. But you know, we got to see what happens, and it's all about experimenting and seeing what you can make with whatever colors you have. So take whatever colors you have, and it doesn't have to be these, you know, more basic primary colors. Okay, let's see what this looks like. Let me grab some more. It actually looks very similar to this color. Slightly off, but very similar. So anyway, okay, this was just a practice in using 3 colors, mixing them, and seeing what you can come up with. And it is shocking, the variation. I'm gonna bring back the other 2, and we can look at all of them together. This camera angle is not quite large enough to get all of them in at the same time, but this was the yellow palette that we made with the exact same colors as we made this blue palette, as we made this red palette. So, wow. You can make all these different colors and more just with the 3 colors, not including a white, not including a black or a gray or a brown, which is the more traditional way to do it. So I would say grab some colors and just see what happens, and especially maybe even grab a color that you don't like and just say, what can I add to it to come up with a color that I do like? So definitely give it a shot and have fun with it. And I feel like it's just a great practice for exploring and just seeing what happens, and using colors straight out of the tube is fine, but how fun is this to create something with 3 colors? It just gives you such a vast array, and it is really fun to do. And boy, if it was on my palette, I would have used those different colors to add to my art journal, not just like a palette, which this is fine to do too, but I would take those colors and go through my art journal and just paint different, you know, spots with each of these colors. So you put the 3 on your palette, mix them up into different colors, and then use them, and they're very cohesive, and it can just have a beautiful result. So have fun, and I would say give color mixing a try. Thanks for watching. See you next time.